They say one small act can change everything. But nobody expected this one to start a fire across the whole country. It began on an ordinary summer afternoon. A 10-year-old boy named Malik Johnson, standing on a street corner with nothing but a smile and a homemade lemonade stand. What happened next would expose the dark truth about his town and make the whole world choose sides. The sun beat down on the cracked sidewalk of Pine Hill Avenue, a small, mostly white suburb where smiles were polite, but eyes lingered too long. Malik adjusted the hand-painted sign his mom helped him make. Fresh lemonade, $1 a cup. The letters weren't perfect, but his grin was. His mother, Tasha Johnson, watched proudly from the porch. She'd lost her job 2 months ago. Malik wanted to help. Just a little something to make extra for groceries, he said. And for a moment, life felt normal. But it never stayed that way for long. Across the street, from behind a white picket fence, Karen Whitmore squinted over her sunglasses. You know the type, pressed polo shirt, gold chain. A dog that barked at anything darker than beige. She watched Malik with the same look one gives to a stray dog. Then she frowned, picked up her phone, and muttered, "This just isn't right." Tasha was inside when it happened. Malik was serving his third customer, an old mailman who'd left a big tip. When a white SUV pulled up, 2 officers stepped out, hands already resting near their holsters. "Hey, kid," one said, "you got a permit for this?" Malik blinked. "A permit? For lemonade?" Karen appeared behind them, smug, arms folded. "I called because he's out here soliciting," she said. "I don't know what he's selling. Could be drugs for all I know." The words cut through the air like a blade. Malik froze. His throat tightened. He tried to speak, but the fear was too big. The officer sighed, radio crackling. "We got a code 48, possible unauthorized vendor." When Tasha came out, everything stopped. "Excuse me," she yelled, storming toward them. "He's 10. He's selling lemonade. You came out here for this." Karen crossed her arms tighter. Rules are rules. Tasha looked at her like she wanted to burn the sun out of the sky. "You don't care about rules," she said. "You care about control." The neighbors began to gather. Phones came out. Cameras rolled. And in that moment, the story wasn't just Malik's anymore. It belonged to everyone watching. By evening, the video had already hit Twitter. White woman calls cops on black boy selling lemonade. The clip was raw. Malik standing beside his folding table, the fear in his eyes too real for comfort. Karen's face was clear in every frame. So was her smirk. Within hours, the town's Facebook page exploded. Some defended her. Others called for her job. But the part nobody expected was what happened the next morning. At 9:07 a.m., a convoy of black SUVs pulled onto Pine Hill Avenue. Malik's lemonade stand was back up, this time surrounded by reporters, neighbors, and strangers holding signs. Tasha tried to keep her son calm, but Malik just smiled nervously. He whispered, "Mama, do I still sell lemonade?" She squeezed his shoulder. "Always, baby. Always." That's when the crowd parted, and Mayor Henry Caldwell stepped out of the SUV. A tall, dignified black man in a gray suit. The first black mayor this town had ever seen. He looked around, at the crowd, the cameras, and Malik, then at Karen, who was watching from her porch, horrified. "Son," the mayor said, walking up with a warm smile, "I heard you're running a small business." Malik nodded shyly. "Yes, sir. $1 a cup." The mayor reached into his pocket, pulled out a thick envelope, and placed it gently on the table. "I'll take them all." The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. Malik's eyes went wide. "Oh, all of them?" The mayor grinned. "Every single cup." Karen's mouth fell open. "This is ridiculous," she shouted. "You're rewarding him for breaking the law." The mayor turned slowly toward her, his tone calm, but sharp enough to slice glass. "Ma'am, the only law broken here was the one written in your mind." A murmur swept through the crowd. Karen's face flushed red. The mayor raised Malik's small hand. "This young man didn't just sell lemonade," he said. "He sold hope, He showed that even when the world tries to shut you down, you stand tall, pour another cup, and keep serving. The crowd erupted. People clapped. Some cried. And for the first time, Malik smiled without fear. The mayor leaned in and whispered something only he could hear. "Keep this fire, son. The world will try to take it from you." Then, turning back to the cameras, he announced, "I'm creating a youth entrepreneur grant fund in Malik Johnson's name." The cheers were deafening, but not everyone cheered. Karen's reputation didn't just crumble, it collapsed. Her employer released a statement condemning her actions. Her friends distanced themselves. The HOA voted to remove her from the board she once ruled. And yet, she still didn't learn. Weeks later, someone caught her ranting online. "They only care because he's black. If I called on a white kid, no one would care." That video didn't go viral, because by then, nobody cared what she had to say. 2 weeks later, Malik received a letter. It had the town seal on it. Official, golden. He opened it slowly, eyes wide. It read, "Dear Malik, congratulations on being selected as the first recipient of the Johnson Youth Entrepreneur Award. Enclosed is your starter grant for $5,000. Use it to dream bigger. Mayor Henry Caldwell." Tasha broke down crying right there in the kitchen. Malik held the letter tight, whispering, "See, Mama, the world ain't all bad." But even as they celebrated, a storm was brewing, because not everyone wanted Malik's story to end in triumph. Not everyone wanted the town to look redeemed. Late one night, as Malik slept, Tasha heard something outside. She looked through the blinds and saw their mailbox burning. A crude message spray painted across the sidewalk. "Stay in your place." Her hands trembled as she dialed 911. When the police arrived, the same officer who once questioned Malik stood silently staring at the flames. Something in his face had changed. Guilt, maybe, or realization. He turned to her and said quietly, "Mrs. Johnson will find who did this." But she knew better. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something darker. The next morning, Malik found the ashes. He didn't cry. He didn't even speak. He just picked up the charred remains of his lemonade sign and said, "I'm making a new one." Tasha hesitated. "Baby, maybe we should lay low for a while." But Malik shook his head. "No, Mama, they want us scared. I'm not scared anymore." He rebuilt his stand. This time, the sign read, "Justice Lemonade, still $1 a cup." The media came back. So did the cameras. And so did the mayor. But this time, he didn't come alone. Behind him were community leaders, business owners, and kids holding signs that said, "We stand with Malik." The crowd was bigger than ever. And in the distance, behind the curtains of her house, Karen watched, her face pale, her eyes hollow. The town she once controlled had outgrown her fear. As Malik handed the mayor another cup, a strange car rolled to stop nearby. Tinted windows, no plates. The driver's door opened slowly. A tall man in a dark suit stepped out, his face hidden by the brim of his hat. He handed Malik a business card. "Malik Johnson?" "Yes, sir." The man smiled faintly. "I represent an organization interested in your story. We think you got something bigger than lemonade here." Malik blinked. "Like what?" The man leaned closer. "Change." He slipped the card into Malik's hand and walked away. Tasha turned the card over, her breath catching. It read, "The Freedom Initiative, Washington, D.C., and beneath it, a phone number. That night, Malik sat at his desk, staring at the card. The world outside had gone quiet again, but he could still feel the echo of that crowd. The hope, the hate, the fire. He looked at his mom. "Mama, should I call them?" Tasha smiled sadly. "Baby, sometimes God opens a door so wide, you'd be a fool not to walk through it." Malik picked up the phone, dialed. A voice answered on the other end. "Mr. Johnson, we've been waiting for your call." Malik froze. "Who are you?" The voice chuckled softly. "Let's just say, not everyone's happy the mayor bought your lemonade." The line went dead. Malik stared at the phone, heart pounding in his chest. Outside, a single-car engine started. Headlights flashed through his window. And then, silence. He whispered to himself, "They're not done, are they?" The sound of applause still echoed in Malik's ears. The mayor had just bought every cup of lemonade. The crowd was cheering, reporters snapping photos. The once angry neighbor, Karen, stood frozen, her face pale as chalk. It felt like victory. For the first time in weeks, Malik's small hand stopped trembling. He looked up at his mom, who was crying behind her sunglasses. The mayor knelt, his voice gentle. "Keep this stand running, young man. Don't ever let anyone tell you where you don't belong." Malik smiled, shy but proud. The mayor squeezed his shoulder, then turned to the cameras. "Let this be a lesson," he said. "Every dream deserves to be protected." But behind the flash of smiles, something darker lingered. Because across the street, Karen wasn't done. She stood on the sidewalk, phone in hand, whispering into it with shaking fury. "Yes, he's still here. No, not the boy. The mayor. You don't understand. He's not who you think he is." That night, Malik's lemonade stand was the top story on every channel. 10-year-old boy harassed by neighbor, mayor steps in. It went viral overnight. Millions of views. Hashtags. Interviews. Donations. Everyone called it a victory for justice. But 2 nights later, Malik's mom woke to the sound of banging on the door. Bang, bang, bang. "Open up. Police." Malik jolted awake, terrified. His mother, Rochelle, ran to the door. "Please, what is this about?" she cried. The officer at the front, a tall man with cold eyes, said one word: "Evidence." They pushed past her, storming through the living room. Malik hid behind the couch, watching boots crush the floor he'd mopped the day before. An officer ripped his lemonade poster off the wall. Another yanked the small cash box from the kitchen counter. "What are you doing?" "That's my son's." Rochelle screamed. The lead officer turned, his tone sharp. "Ma'am, we received a report that your child was used as part of a political stunt. We're investigating financial fraud." Rochelle froze. What are you talking about?" The officer held up a small USB stick in an evidence bag. "This was dropped at City Hall this morning. Anonymous source. It contains footage you'll want to see." By morning, the footage was all over social media. It showed the mayor, inside his office, counting cash and whispering to an aide. "Aide, you sure this will work?" "Mayor, once the cameras see me with the boy, they'll forget every scandal I've ever had." The clip cut abruptly. No context, no explanation, just 7 seconds, but enough to explode the internet. Within hours, hashtags flipped. Hashtag lemonade lies. Hashtag mayor manipulation. And worse, hashtag boy used for PR. Malik's photo, his innocent face smiling over his lemonade stand, was suddenly everywhere again, but this time with captions like, "Was it all fake? Did they use the boy for sympathy? PR stunt gone wrong?" Rochelle's phone wouldn't stop ringing. The same reporters who praised him 2 days ago now demanded interviews for the other side. Even Malik's teacher called. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Some parents are saying you staged it for attention." Rochelle's hands shook. "He's 10 years old," she said. "He just wanted to sell lemonade." But truth no longer mattered. The narrative had changed. By the 3rd day, City Hall was in chaos. Protesters outside. News crews everywhere. The mayor hadn't been seen in public since the leak. When he finally appeared, his face was pale, voice trembling. He stood behind the same podium he once used to celebrate Malik's courage. "This video was edited," he said firmly. "It's fake, but I will cooperate fully with investigators." From the crowd, a reporter shouted, "Who paid for the boy stand? Who staged the cameras?" The mayor hesitated. That hesitation was enough. The headlines wrote themselves. Mayor refuses to deny staging lemonade event. Overnight, the city turned. But Malik knew the truth. The mayor hadn't faked anything. He'd shown up out of kindness. Malik had seen in his eyes real, genuine pride. So who leaked the footage? And why? 3 nights later, a manila envelope appeared on Rochelle's doorstep. No name, No address, just one word written in black marker. Watch. Inside, a flash drive. Rochelle hesitated, then plugged it into her laptop. Static flickered. Then footage. Security camera. Angle high. Grainy. Karen, standing in her living room, whispering into her phone. They're setting it up now. Yes, the mayor's people are here. No, he doesn't know I'm recording. I'll get you the footage. Rochelle froze. Karen's voice continued. I'll send it to you tonight. Make sure they edit it the way we discussed. The mayor's finished by morning. Then she laughed. It was her. Karen had staged a leak. Rochelle grabbed her phone and called the mayor's office. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. She was about to hang up when a voice came through. Mrs. Johnson? It wasn't the mayor. It was a man's voice, low, calm, dangerous. This line is monitored. Do not call again. Then click. By the next morning, the envelope was gone. Rochelle swore she left on the counter. She tore the house apart, checking under the couch, behind the fridge. Nothing. Then Malik's voice called from the window. Mom, there's a car outside. A black SUV. No plates. Parked across the street. It had been there since dawn. Rochelle grabbed Malik's arm and pulled him back. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every few minutes, headlights flashed through the blinds. And then, just after midnight, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Stop digging or he disappears. Her heart stopped. She ran to Malik's room. He was still there, asleep, clutching his toy truck. Tears filled her eyes. She knew what this meant. This wasn't about a video anymore. Someone powerful was covering their tracks. The next day, Rochelle went to the one person she thought she could trust, Pastor Daniels. He'd known the mayor since childhood, trusted him. She brought her laptop and what little evidence she had. When she played the video for him, his face turned to stone. He shut the door and whispered, "You need to get this to a journalist. A real one." He pulled out a USB stick from his drawer. "Copy it here. I know someone at Channel 5. She's clean." Rochelle copied the file, hands shaking. "Will she help us?" The pastor nodded. "If this is real, she'll expose it." But as Rochelle left the church, she noticed something strange. Her car door was slightly open. She hadn't left it that way. Inside, nothing. No sign of forced entry. Just her phone sitting on the seat. Screen cracked. A message flashed across it before the screen died completely. "We warned you." Her stomach dropped. When she turned around, Pastor Daniels was gone. That evening, Rochelle came home to silence. "Malik," she called. No answer. She ran to his room. Empty, his toys scattered, the window half open. A single note sat on the desk, written in messy, childlike handwriting. "Mom, don't worry. I'm with the mayor. He said it's safe." Rochelle collapsed. Her hands shook as she read it again and again. The words didn't sound like Malik. The spelling was off. And the penmanship, it was too perfect. Her baby was gone. She called the police, frantic. They took her statement, but barely looked up from their notepads. "We'll file a report," one said. "These things usually sort themselves out." She screamed. "He's 10 years old." The officer just sighed. Maybe he ran off to get attention. That's when Rochelle realized no one was coming to help her. The next day, every news channel exploded with breaking coverage. Mayor under investigation for corruption. Evidence of illegal payments discovered. City Hall raided by FBI. Reporters swarmed City Hall. But inside, the mayor was nowhere to be found. One aide whispered to another, "He left town last night. No one's heard from him since." And then, an even stranger story broke. A photo leaked to the press. A grainy image of the mayor entering an abandoned warehouse, holding Malik's hand. The caption read, "Mayor seen with missing boy hours before vanishing." Rochelle saw it and screamed. Was he protecting her son or hiding him? 48 hours later, Rochelle got a text from an unknown number. "If you want your son back, come alone. No police." Address, 41 Riverfront Road. Midnight. She didn't hesitate. The building was old, windows shattered, graffiti crawling up its sides. The river behind it glimmered under the moonlight. She crept inside, whispering, "Malik? Baby, it's me." A shadow moved. "Mom." She turned. Malik ran into her arms. She sobbed, clutching him tight. "Are you hurt? Did they?" Before she could finish, a voice echoed from the darkness. "Touching reunion." The mayor stepped forward, but something was wrong. His eyes were red, his suit dirty. He looked haunted. Rochelle backed away. "What did you do to my son?" He raised his hands. "I didn't take him. I saved him." "Saved him? From who?" "The same people who tried to destroy me and you." He reached into his coat, pulling out a folder. Inside, photos. Dozens of them. Curran, the police chief, a local developer, and one more face that made Rochelle's blood run cold. Pastor Daniels. They were all part of it, the mayor said. A real estate group called Horizon Redevelopment. They wanted this neighborhood cleared out. They used you and your son as pawns. The scandal gave them the excuse to shut down your block for safety inspections. They're evicting everyone. Rochelle's knees buckled. "You mean this whole thing, Karen, the cops, everything was planned?" The mayor nodded slowly. "And they won't stop until no one can prove it." He handed her a flash drive. "This is everything. The real footage. The full video. It proves who edited the leak." She clutched it to her chest. "We have to show this to the press." The mayor hesitated. "We can't. Not yet." "Why not?" His eyes darkened. "Because someone on the inside is still feeding them information." A creak echoed from the rafters. Rochelle turned. Pastor Daniel stepped out of the shadows, holding a gun. "I told you to give me the drive, Rochelle," he said quietly. "You just couldn't leave it alone." The mayor stepped in front of her. "You're behind this?" Daniel smirked. "Behind it? No, just paid by the ones who are. Everyone wants something. Mine was simple, retirement in peace." He pointed the gun at Malik. "Now hand it over." Rochelle's heart stopped. "No, please, he's just a boy." The mayor lunged, shouting, "Run." A gunshot exploded. Rochelle screamed. Smoke filled the air. The sound of footsteps. Malik crying. When it cleared, Pastor Daniels was gone, and the mayor was on the ground, bleeding. Rochelle fell to her knees. "Stay with me, please." He pressed a flash drive into her hand. "Don't let them win." His eyes flickered. Sirens echoed in the distance. Rochelle turned to Malik. "We have to go." They ran out the back door into the night. Behind them, the warehouse erupted in flames. Rochelle and Malik hid in a motel on the edge of town. She turned on the flash drive. Files open, video, documents, receipts. She played one clip. Karen again, talking to someone off camera. "You think they'll buy it?" she asked. A familiar voice replied. "They already have." Rochelle froze. She knew that voice. It wasn't Pastor Daniels. It wasn't the mayor. It was the chief of police. The same man who had raided her home. Rochelle turned to Malik, whispering, "We're going to the press. Tomorrow morning." But before she could close the laptop, her screen flickered. Then went black. A new message appeared. "You should have stopped when we warned you. Now we're coming for both of you." The motel lights flickered out. Engines roared outside. Headlights filled the window. Rochelle grabbed Malik's hand. "Run." They bolted out the back into the cold night air. Behind them, the sound of boots, radios, orders, and over it all, a single, chilling voice through a megaphone. "Mrs. Johnson, surrender the footage, or we'll take it from your son." Rochelle turned toward the darkness, clutching Malik's hand. Her voice trembled, but her eyes burned with fire. "Over my dead body." The camera panned up to the flashing lights, closing in. They thought the story was over. The cameras were off. The crowd had gone home. But the real storm was just beginning, because that viral video, the one where Karen called the cops on 10-year-old Malik, didn't just break the internet. It broke something inside that town. For the first time in years, people weren't just whispering about injustice. They were seeing it raw, unfiltered, undeniable. And the mayor, the man everyone praised for buying every cup and doing the right thing, he wasn't smiling for the cameras anymore, because deep down, he knew the truth was much bigger than lemonade. The next morning, the town of Brookdale was trending worldwide. News anchors called Malik a symbol of hope. Celebrities tweeted his name, and donations poured in from every corner of the country, enough to rebuild his whole block. But while the world celebrated, Karen was unraveling. She couldn't go to the grocery store without people whispering. Her business lost clients overnight. Reporters camped outside her house. And every time she opened her phone, there was that video, her face, her words, her shame. "Why are you selling lemonade without a permit?" she'd said. Now, those same words were burned into internet history. But Karen wasn't the type to stay quiet. No, she was angry. And when angry people lose everything, they start to dig. She started by calling the police department, then the mayor's office. She demanded to know why her 911 call was leaked. But what she uncovered wasn't what she expected. A low-level clerk, tired and scared, finally broke down on the phone. "Ma'am," he whispered, "there's something you should know." The mayor, he set this up. Karen froze. "What are you talking about?" He knew it would happen. That boy, that stand, it was all part of a PR plan, a campaign stunt. For the first time since that day, Karen stopped crying. Her face went cold. Because if what he said was true, then she wasn't the villain. She was a pawn. Meanwhile, Malik was sitting in his small kitchen, surrounded by unopened letters. Hundreds of them. People sending him cards, donations, and promises. His mom smiled, proud and overwhelmed. "You did good, baby. Real good." But Malik couldn't stop thinking about one thing. The look the mayor gave him after the cameras turned off. That smile wasn't kind. It was calculated. And that night he proved it. Because at 2 a.m., while the neighborhood slept, a black SUV rolled up to Malik's house. No plates. No headlights. Two men stepped out, wearing suits. They didn't knock. They waited. The next morning, Malik's mom found a letter slipped under the door. It wasn't signed, just stamped with the seal of the mayor's office. "Congratulations on your success, Malik. Please attend the Community Awards dinner this Friday. You'll be receiving a special honor for being a beacon of unity." But as she read it, a chill ran down her spine, because attached was a non-disclosure form. It said that by attending, Malik and his family agreed not to discuss any details of the incident for legal and security reasons. She crumpled it up. "This doesn't feel right," she whispered. Malik nodded slowly. "Maybe it's not about the award." Friday night came. The town hall was glowing with lights and cameras. Everyone was there. City officials, reporters, the mayor, and front and center, Malik, sitting beside his mom in a neatly pressed shirt. But something felt off. The mayor approached the podium, smiling wide. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "tonight we celebrate unity, compassion, and the future of Brookdale." Applause echoed through the hall. But then something strange happened. The projector behind him flickered, once, twice, before showing a video that wasn't part of the program. It was the same body cam footage from the day of the lemonade stand. But this version was longer. Everyone had seen the viral clip. Karen yelling, the cops showing up, the mayor stepping in heroically. But this footage showed what came before. It showed the mayor's car parked a few feet away. It showed him on the phone before the police even arrived. And it caught his words crystal clear. "She's here. Start recording when I walk up." The crowd gasped. Karen's mouth dropped open in shock. Malik's mother covered her mouth. And just like that, the hero was exposed. Reporters flooded the stage. The mayor froze, eyes darting to the security team. But Malik stood up, trembling, heart pounding, and took the microphone. "Y'all made me the face of your campaign," he said, voice shaking but strong. "You used me to make yourselves look good. But the truth? You never cared about me. Or anyone like me." The room fell silent. And then chaos. Cameras flashed. People shouted. The mayor's guards tried to pull Malik away. But it was too late. The video was already live streaming. broadcasted by someone in the back row. Within minutes, it hit every major social media feed. By morning, it had over 10 million views. Karen watched the news from her living room, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in days, she smiled, not out of joy, but out of vindication. She dialed the same reporter who ruined her life and said, "I have proof the mayor planned all. I want to talk." Within hours, she was on national television, confessing everything: how she'd been manipulated, how the mayor's team sent her fake neighborhood complaints, how they baited her into calling the cops that day. The town that once hated her started to listen, and Malik, he became the face of something much bigger. Hashtag Justice for Malik trended for weeks. Lawsuits were filed, investigations opened, and the mayor, he disappeared from public view until one morning he showed up again. It was 3 months later. Malik was back at school. His mom had started a foundation to support young black entrepreneurs. Life was finally settling down. Then came a knock at the door. When Malik opened it, his smile vanished. The mayor stood there, dressed in plain clothes, dark circles under his eyes. He didn't look powerful anymore. He looked desperate. "Malik," he said softly, "we need to talk." His mother rushed to the door. "You've got some nerve." But the mayor raised a trembling hand. "Please, it's not what you think." He handed Malik a small envelope. Inside, a photo. It was grainy black and white, but unmistakable. It showed Malik's dad, a man he'd never met, standing beside the mayor years ago, smiling, wearing the same mayoral campaign pin. Malik's voice cracked. "Where did you get this?" The mayor swallowed hard. "He worked for me once, before he disappeared." That night, Malik couldn't sleep. The photo burned in his mind. Was his father part of the system, or another victim of it? He searched every corner of the internet. Nothing. No name. No record. No mention. Until finally, he found it. A newspaper clipping from 12 years ago. Local activists missing after confronting city officials. And the name at the bottom? Marcus Reed Johnson. His father. The article mentioned he'd been investigating something called Project Clean Image, a political cover-up involving staged community events meant to manipulate public perception. The very same pattern the mayor used on Malik. The next morning, Malik met Karen in secret. She handed him a flash drive. "I got this from a reporter friend," she said. "It's surveillance data from City Hall before they wiped the archives. You need to see it." Malik loaded it onto his laptop, and what he saw made his blood run cold. A folder labeled Clean Image _Originals, filled with videos. One for every viral good deed the mayor had done over the years. Every one of them staged. Every one of them using real people as pawns. And in one clip, dated years before, Malik saw his father, confronting the mayor, shouting, "You can't build your career on lies and call it justice." Seconds later, the footage cut out. Malik stared at the screen, heart pounding. His father hadn't just disappeared. He'd been silenced. He turned to Karen. They covered it up. All of it. Karen nodded grimly. "And now you're the next name on that list." Malik's phone buzzed. An unknown number. A message. "Stop digging or you'll end up like him." He looked up at Karen. She looked terrified. "Malik, they're watching us." He backed away from the window, but it was too late. A black SUV was parked across the street. Same one from months ago. The door opened. A man stepped out. It wasn't the mayor. It wasn't the police. It was someone Malik had never seen before. Tall, wearing a black coat, earpiece glinting under the streetlight. He looked straight at Malik and smiled. "Your father started this," he said. "Now it's your turn to finish it." Then he slipped something into the mailbox and walked away. Malik rushed to open it. Inside, a single USB drive, labeled Clean Image Final Phase. He plugged it in. The screen flickered, and a video began to play. Timestamp tomorrow. Malik's eyes widened in horror, because it showed him, standing in front of the same lemonade stand, surrounded by flashing lights and police. And the headline below read, "Local boy arrested in charity fraud scandal." They say lightning never strikes the same place twice. But for Malik Johnson, it did, only this time, the thunder came with handcuffs. Because the video that appeared on that mysterious USB drive, the one showing Malik's future arrest, wasn't just a warning. It was a plan already in motion. The next morning, the neighborhood was swarming with police cars. Blue and red lights painted the walls of Malik's home. Neighbors peeked through curtains as officers combed through the front yard. Malik's mom stood frozen on the porch. "Officer, what's going on?" she cried. One of them, stone-faced, handed her a warrant. "Ma'am, we have reason to believe your son is connected to charity fraud." She nearly dropped it. Fraud? He's 10 years old. But behind the officer, Malik saw the same black SUV parked across the street. The same tinted windows. Watching. That's when it hit him. The video wasn't a prediction. It was a blueprint. They were staging another lie, just like they did before. Only this time, Malik wasn't supposed to survive it. They brought him in for questioning. The mayor wasn't there, but his shadow was everywhere. Posters, photos, campaign slogans still plastered across the walls. The detective leaned forward. "You've been receiving donations under your name, Malik. Thousands of dollars. Care to explain where they went?" Malik's voice trembled. "I never took any money." But the detective slid a folder across the table. Bank transfers. Fake receipts. All with his name and photo. Someone had built an entire scam using his identity. And buried inside that file was one more thing. A signature. Familiar. Precise. The mayor's. Malik's stomach twisted. They weren't just trying to destroy him. They were erasing his innocence to protect their machine. When he was finally released, Malik walked home under flashing cameras and whispers. His mom tried to hold him, but he pulled away. "Mom, they won't stop. They're going to make everyone believe I'm guilty." Her eyes filled with tears. "Then we show them the truth, baby. We fight back." But Malik already knew what that meant. To fight them, he'd have to do what his father did. Expose the people at the top, no matter the cost. That night, Malik plugged the USB back in. He searched through every folder, every encrypted file. And there it was, a document titled Clean Image. Final phase. Inside, he found hundreds of names. Influencers, business owners, even police chiefs. All paid off to stage acts of unity that painted the mayor's administration as saviors. All fake, all for votes. But buried in the metadata was something else. A recording. He pressed play. "Mayor, Reed didn't get the message. If he keeps digging, make it look like an accident." Unknown voice. Understood. And the kid. "Mayor." Same protocol. Different story. Malik's throat tightened. That's when he understood. They didn't just silence his father. They planned to erase him the same way. He printed everything. Every receipt, every file, every video, and stuffed it into his backpack. He called the only person he thought might help, Karen. When she answered, her voice was low. "Malik, I saw the news. They're framing you, aren't they?" He swallowed. "They did the same thing to my dad." She was silent for a moment. Then, "Meet me at City Hall. Midnight. There's something you need to see." Rain poured as Malik snuck out of the house. City Hall loomed ahead, cold and empty. Karen stood by the door, hood up, clutching a folder. "You were right," she whispered. "It was never about lemonade. This whole town is a cover operation." She opened the folder. Inside were photos, old surveillance stills. His father, meeting secretly with the mayor, years before he vanished. Malik's voice shook. What were they working on? Karen's eyes darkened. "Your father wasn't trying to stop the system, Malik. He was trying to build it, until he saw what it would become." That truth hit harder than any lie. Malik's father, the hero he'd imagined all his life, had once helped create the very corruption that destroyed their family. Karen handed him another file. "Your dad recorded everything. Every meeting, every deal. He had the last file somewhere only you would know." Malik blinked. "Where?" She looked at him with a faint smile. "Where it all started." And that's when he knew. The lemonade stand. He ran through the rain, heart pounding. When he reached the corner, the stand was still there, battered, half broken. He tore it apart plank by plank until he found it. A small metal box nailed under the base. Inside, a flash drive, old, rusted, but still intact. He plugged it into his laptop, right there under the flickering streetlight. A single video appeared, labeled The Truth. It showed his father, sitting at a desk, tired, angry, speaking directly into the camera. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't make it out. They're going to twist everything, even your story, son. But you can't let them win. The world doesn't need another hero. It needs the truth. Malik's tears mixed with rain. He looked up, headlights in the distance. A black SUV was speeding toward him. He grabbed the flash drive and ran. Tires screeched behind him. Doors slammed. A voice shouted, "Stop! You don't know what you're carrying." But Malik didn't stop. Not this time. He reached the old bridge, the same one his father vanished near. Lightning flashed. The SUV skidded to a halt, and from the passenger seat, the mayor stepped out. "Hand it over, Malik," he said, rain pouring down his face. "This isn't about you anymore. It's about control." Malik held the flash drive tight. "You already had control," he said quietly. "Now it's my turn." He hurled it into the river. The mayor screamed, lunging forward. But before he could reach him, police sirens blared. Headlights flooded the bridge. Karen stood behind them, phone in hand, recording everything. "This time," she said, voice cold, "the world's watching." The mayor was arrested that night. The operation exposed. Malik's name cleared. But as dawn broke, Malik stood by the river, watching the current sweep away the evidence his father left behind. He whispered, "You didn't fail, Dad. You showed me what truth costs." And in that moment, he realized something. Justice doesn't always come from courts or cameras. Sometimes, it comes from the courage to keep standing, even when the world tries to knock you down. The mayor's case is still under investigation. Dozens of officials have resigned, and Malik's story has become a national symbol of truth against corruption. But some say the file that vanished in the river didn't really disappear, and that somewhere out there, someone's still watching. If you were Malik, would you have destroyed the evidence to protect yourself, or risked everything to expose the truth? Speech Balloon, comment your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, emotional, and powerful stories that reveal the hidden side of justice.